Hi, it's the Lipstick Gal. Thanks so much for watching today. Let's do another ranking of recent makeup purchases, kind of like a makeup update. All right, I've got 13 products in front of me. At number 13, the one that I knew I wasn't gonna like and I wasn't gonna use and I gave to someone else, I'll throw a photo of it up for you, is from Lancome. It was from their holiday beauty box. It was their Definisil's mascara. Now, there's nothing wrong with the mascara. The mascara is great, but because I have short, kind of straight, stumpy, downward pointed lashes, I need something that's a little bit more like va-va-voom and not quite so just simple and defining. I need a little bit more drama. So I gave that to my youngest, loves it. Life is great with the Definisil's because they've got like amazing lashes, long. They curl naturally. They're dark. They need just the barest little bit of, like they don't even need mascara, but that's all it takes. And then all of a sudden Lily has the most amazing lashes. All right, number 12. I decided when I was out shopping in October, I came across the Monica Blunder brand. There is a JCPenney's at a local mall, and they used to have a Sephora inside JCPenney's. But when Sephora stopped working with JCPenney's, they still saved those spaces and they started putting in other beauty brands that aren't carried at Sephora. And Monica Blunder is one of them. So I got one of these Kiss and Lush lipsticks. This is the shade Anna Maria. I think the reason that this is not farther up is not because of the formula, because I really like the formula. I'm just not a big fan of how terracotta-y it is. It looked, there wasn't the full range. That's the one thing, is I kind of wish instead of buying things with the limited shade range in store, I had gone to the Monica Blunder website, because the colors there just look so much. There were more options, first of all, but they also just looked a little bit juicier. They had some really pretty mauves and plum tones, and everything that I saw at the beauty space inside JCPenney was very terracotta, very warm leaning. And I feel like I've got plenty that's like that. Now, is the formula nice? Yeah, the formula is nice. It's comfortable on the lips. It's easy to wear. It's just not my favorite shade. I also feel like the packaging, you know, it's nice, but for what I paid for it, I would expect something just a little bit more. But I know that this is kind of like an indie brand and a newer brand, so it works, and it's just a twist-up mechanism here. But I don't know that I absolutely would have to have another one of these, and I'm worried that the cap is not going to stay on forever. So the product itself is fine. I'm not a fan of the packaging or the shade. Those were the two products that I was like, not for me, not sure I love it. All right, now we're just into, it was okay. At number 11, also while I was there at JCPenney in their beauty section, I didn't know this, they carry RMS. And the one thing I haven't tried before, but I've been seeing a lot of great reviews about, is the Buriti bronzer. Now, this has been around for a long time. This kind of coconut-based bronzer is one that Rosemary Swift has had in the line for such a long time. And there's just one shade, but it's one of those, it has kind of like a red undertone to it, so it looks more like you caught sun than you got orange. You know what I mean? I really love the Living Luminizer that is this same formula, but it is kind of like a pearlized white. It's a beautiful highlight. So I knew I was going to like the formula. I just wasn't sure whether the shade was going to work. It does work, but it can be a little dark and look a little bit like dirt on my face if I don't use the right brush. This is one of those that when I apply it with a brush, then I still go over it with the damp sponge and make sure I blend it in really, really well. I have to work a little bit harder. Is it a bad product? No, actually it's really lovely. I just feel like it's made for a different skin tone than my fair skin. At number 10 is another Monica Blunder product. This is the Liquid Flush Liquid Blush. This is the cheek tint, and this is in the shade München, which is, I think, if I'm saying it correctly, German for Munich. All the blushes were named after cities in Germany, and like, it's really pretty. It's really pretty. I wanted something that was kind of almost beigey. Oh my goodness, I really like it. The one problem that I have with this is that if I don't use the right brush, it is a little on the, it's not really emollient, but there's enough liquid to it that it can sometimes pick up what I already have down. So I have to be very careful with it. I have to be careful with this. I have to be careful with the Bariti bronzer, just to make sure that I get a good blend without having, you know, like the product just in one area. It blends beautifully, but sometimes I can pick up if I'm using it with say a cream foundation, sometimes it disturbs the cream foundation, but maybe it's just my overzealous blending, but I really love the color. I think that it's a really, really nice product, and I do like the doe foot on here. It's kind of like a nice size. It's not too big, it's not too small. I feel like it is a lovely product. I'm glad to have this, and I think it's a really versatile shade for me, that it's not really too pink, it's not too warm. It's a really nice kind of beigey shade. Number 9 is a lipstick from Lancome. This was also part of their holiday blockbuster. This is one of their Intimatte lipsticks, the L'Absolu Rouge Intimatte, and this is in the shade Unspoken Feelings. It's really, really a pretty nude shade. Oh my goodness, it's so lovely. The one thing I'll tell you is I can really tell that this matte lipstick is created by Lisa Eldridge. She is the creative director at Lancome, and the reason I say that is it has a lot of properties of the Lisa Eldridge lipsticks. It has kind of like that creamy feel while still being matte. It has some really, I feel like Lisa's shades from the Lisa Eldridge brand are more nuanced than the Lancome shades. I also know that Lancome, their lipsticks always smell a little bit like there's a little bit of rose in there. If you're familiar with Lancome lipsticks, you'll know exactly the smell that I'm talking about. I used to wear nothing but Lancome, so it's a very familiar scent to me. But I feel one of the defining differences between Lisa's Velvet Mattes and this is the wear time. I get so much more wear out of the Lisa Eldridge lipsticks, but these have a very similar feel. They're lightweight, they're creamy on the lips, they don't dry my lips out. I don't like the colors as well from the Lancome line, and they don't last as long. I have to reapply more frequently, but overall it's a really nice lipstick and it's a really pretty color. Number 8, something else that came in that set, this is the Lancome Cils Booster. This is just their mascara primer. I love this stuff. I've been using the Cils Booster for probably the last 15, no, longer than that, more like 20 years. Like when they came out with this, I started using it, and I've had a tube of it ever since. I have tried primers from the drugstore. I've tried primers from other brands. I just keep coming back to this. I really feel like Lancome does mascaras really well, which is why I'm sure it's why I love this mascara primer. It doesn't dry white. I'm able to, you know, bulk up my lashes a little bit and then throw on a mascara over the top. Really like this. This is great. At number 7 is a fragrance that came in the holiday blockbuster set. It is La Vie est Belle. It was a purse spray. And I ended up giving it to my 16-year-old who really likes the scent, and they were almost out. I was like, here, look, I just got this in a box set and I already have a full size. Do you want it? She was so excited and delighted. So my mini size of La Vie est Belle went to my 16-year-old, but it's definitely a much loved scent in this house and one that I really love wearing in the colder months. Okay, number 6. This one really surprised me because I wasn't expecting to love it, and I do. This is the Holiday 2024 Rose Gold Eye Palette from Lancome. Look how pretty she is. Oh my goodness. So you definitely get some of that rose gold from in here and in through here. But then we've got some really beautiful taupe shades, you know, kind of like a deep charcoaly shade, some browns, and almost like a really cool brown here. I felt like this palette is so much better than anything we've had in the past several years. I also really prefer the packaging for this. Look how slender it is. It's got a large mirror in there, but for me, I think the packaging is great because it is a magnetic closure. I like that, and I like the touch of the Lancome rose right here on the front, but it's not too thick, it's not too heavy, it's not too bulky. It doesn't look like, sometimes the packaging for the holiday stuff looks kind of cheap. To me, this doesn't look cheap. This actually looks really lovely. I'm glad to have it. I've been using it more than I thought I would. A lot of times the eyeshadow palettes that come in these box sets from Lancome or Estee Lauder or whoever else don't always get a ton of use. I've been using this a lot, mainly because the shades. I feel like these shades are my perfect boring Betty shades with just a little bit of, warmth from those pinks. I think this is absolutely lovely. Really been liking this, been using it more than I expected to. Number 5 on this list, something that I've absolutely been loving, is this little mini pencil set from Makeup Forever. I have not really gotten too much into the pencils from Makeup Forever. I do have a full size of one that comes in the set. This is Anywhere Caffeine, and I liked it so much I decided that instead of buying full-size pencils, I wanted to try this little mini set. This is for the holidays. This is great. You do get Anywhere, actually this is Wherever Walnut. That's the one that I had before, but they also give you Anywhere Caffeine, Limitless Brown, and then they have Whatever Black and All Around White. I've used everything but the white. I keep thinking I'm going to use the white, but I would probably use this to ombre, or I could use it like in the inner corner to highlight, like if I wanted to do just a little bit of highlight right here. I think it does bring a lot of life to the face. I'm just going to tap this in because I feel like it's a little stark. This is the one that I really haven't been using, but those other 4, oh my goodness, love so much. I found out that I can use Limitless Brown as a lip liner. I've been using it as an eyeliner, and so in between I just sharpen it with my pencil sharpener. I'll go through, sharpen it if I'm going to use it on my eyes again, but I've been using it on my lips and my eyes. Oh my goodness, these pencils are so great. I really, really like it. This little white guy is kind of like the odd man out, but it's a really great set at a really affordable price and a great way to try these pencils if you never have. But I find that they're creamy without being that gel formula that sets down and becomes like a little bit rigid. These are really nice wooden pencils that just kind of glide and blend. They're not indelible, they do wear off, but they do a really, really, really great job. They don't work in my waterline because if I ever use them to tightline, they do smudge, but they work great above the lash line, and then they do work great on the lips. All right, number 4 is something that I absolutely fell head over heels for, and it's from Monica Blunder. This is the Blunder cover, and it's the cream foundation. All right, this is really more like a balm. This is so beautiful. I have the lightest shade. The lightest shade is 1 Eins. And for me, what is so great about this is that it never makes my skin look dry. As we're heading into cooler weather, what I need is something that is going to make my skin look like skin. This does that. And then on top of that is not going to kind of emphasize any dry flakes that I might have, because it's starting to happen. I've noticed that I've had like a little bit of flaking around the corners of my nose, or like right here at the edge of my lip. And I'm like, what is all that all about? I feel like the older I get, the less combo oily my skin is and the more combo dry my skin is. This does not accentuate any of the dryness. I really like that. I can't use it underneath the eye because it's too emollient. So if I use it as concealer, I have to set it with so much powder to keep it in place that it's just not worth it for me. So I would much rather use this as foundation and then just use a traditional under eye concealer that works a little bit better, that doesn't need to be as heavily set because it's not as emollient as this. But this looks like skin, is really comfortable. I do find it sometimes it does settle into my forehead lines if I have a light whisper of powder. So in the places where I do have dynamic facial lines like my forehead or like right in through here, those are the places that I powder just a little bit more. So when I'm wearing this, it kind of stays in place, but it's really targeted powdering. I don't have to powder the whole thing. It looks beautiful. It looks lifelike. It's just really pretty. I like it a lot. All right, speaking of powders, here's one that I fell in love with. Now, I already know I like this formula. This is the Cloud Set formula from Kosas, but I picked up the shade Candy. This is the pale pink. Oh my goodness. It's so pretty. It is one of the lightest pinks that I have. I have several pink powders. This is great all over the face. This is great under the eye. This just looks beautiful. And what I like about it, if you've never tried this powder from Kosas, if you have dry skin, this would be a beautiful pressed powder for you. If you want something that is going to take down a little bit of the shine or the reflection of something that's a little bit more emollient like this, but without getting you to look too powdery like a porcelain doll, this will do it. This is a beautiful formula for setting your face without ever looking powdery. It's so lovely. Now, one that's a little bit more heavy duty, but I like it so much is this. This is the mini size of the Kimchi Chic Puff Puff Pass Setting Powder. Now, the reason that I got the mini was because they didn't have the full size. Shade 01 is white like powdered sugar. So I got shade 02, which is skin toned for me. They have, I think, 5 or 6 shades. So they just are deeper and deeper and deeper shade wise. But this is right here. It is so finely milled. It is so finely milled. This is the one that I like to pair with the Monica Blender cover, because if I pair it with this, it's not enough to keep it from creasing in my forehead. But if I want a cream product to not settle in my expression lines, because they're pretty deep right up in here, this is what I need. This is so good. I know the Huda Beauty would also set really well, except for it's a little bit heavier on my face. This is lighter weight than some of those really kind of heavy, like the Maybelline Fit Me or the Huda Beauty Easy Bake. Those sorts of powders don't always work for me, because the older I get, the more powdery and made up and heavy duty I look. This doesn't end up looking that way. I don't know what it is. I can even use this under my eyes. Now I can count on my right hand the powders in my collection, and there are many. I was just looking over here at my collection of powders that I can use under my eyes successfully without it looking halfway through the day that I have like Crypt Keeper under eyes, because sometimes if the powder is too matte, it pulls out all the moisture out of the products that I'm wearing, and then I start looking dry and crepey in this area. Or other ones that aren't setting enough, they're not good enough at setting, that I end up with concealer falling into, even though it's set, falling into my fine lines. There's very few powders that I really trust. I was so glad to find another one. This is great. I'll wait to get the full size and see if I'm still as enamored with it then as I am now. Number one, the one thing that I was like, I'm not gonna buy it, I don't need it. And then I saw it when I was in Sephora and I swatched it. And guess who I couldn't leave the store without? Okay, so this is the Holiday Ambient Lighting Unlocked palette, the Dragon palette from Hourglass. So pretty. So pretty, so pretty. I have been wearing this nonstop. Today is the first day in like a week and a half that I'm not reaching for this. I've been reaching for this so much. I love the bronzer shade in here. This blush right here is so pretty. It's a warm, but not too warm. The other kind of cooler tone blush in here is they're just so pretty. I really like these. Beyond that, the bronzer is not too bronzy. The highlight is not too glittery. It's just really beautiful. And the setting powders are everything. They're not shades that I have seen before, because the setting powders are Dream Light and Divine Light. And am I wrong? I don't remember those names in the regular. I think it might just be something specific to this palette, but I really like this. I know it's expensive at $90. I know it's out of stock at Sephora right now, but if you can get it on the Hourglass website, it's beautiful. I always feel like I have to be careful with these because the pans are a little bit small. And so I have to start reaching for brushes that are smaller. I tend to like large brushes. So I need something that's going to get in here and touch this without getting into the bronzer or the powders on the other side, especially if I'm using the setting powders with the brush. Like I've been using this brush here with it, and I have to be careful that I'm getting just in here and not hitting the highlight or not hitting the blush. That's the only drawback for me, is that I have to reach for smaller brushes. And I love me a big chunky blush brush or a big chunky powder brush, And this is not really conducive to that, but it's so beautiful. The quality is impeccable. I paid full price for it, and I'm not even mad a little bit. Thank you so much for watching. Here's where I want to know, what new things have you been trying? What things have come into your collection recently that you're loving, that are right up there at the top? Things that you're just like, oh my goodness, it's so good. I would love to know. Or something that you've tried where you're like, well, I don't know. Maybe it's made for somebody else, because although this is lovely, I feel like this might be made for somebody with a different skin tone than me. It's not quite as fair skin friendly as I had hoped. All right, thank you so much for watching today. I'll link everything in the description box down below. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you again soon.